Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen Community Matters. Today I wanted to talk about a few minor things: Foundry 42 rebranding, Star Citizen official tutorials, and a couple of dev responses on Spectrum. The idea of this Community Matters type series is to look at some other parts of the Star Citizen community and game that I don't normally cover in sort of like news, guides, theorycraft, FAQs, and my standard content. So please tell me if you like it in the comments below. Firstly, the Argo SRV promotion and concept sale will now conclude at 11:59 PM Pacific on March the 11th. So they've extended that sale. If you wanted a few more days to decide whether to get that ship, then now's your chance. However, I do suspect that ship will be pretty easy to get in the verse. Fenrir on Spectrum asked a question: has the Planet Lear 3 received any further work since the Homestead 2016 demo? This garnered a response from Cloud Imperium's Divi. As far as the Planet team is concerned, nobody has spent any time on it in the past 2 years, so unless someone has been secretly working on it somewhere else, there is nothing to show until we start work on the Lear system as a whole. We kind of knew they were working on the Squadron 42 planets and assets, as well as the Stanton Systems ones. Each of the planets, though, assets, buildings, biomes, architecture, modules, or textures they build out can and will be used elsewhere in the verse to help flesh it out. So in that sense, Lear 3 would have made progress because the planetary tech in general and all the assets have made progress. Foundry 42 Limited has rebranded to Cloud Imperium Games Limited. This seems to be in an effort to bring the names of the studios in line with the Cloud Imperium banner. The statement from Cloud Imperium said, "Today we filed with UK Companies House to rename Foundry 42 Limited to Cloud Imperium Games Limited. This rebrand reflects Cloud Imperium's unified global approach to the creation of Star Citizen and Squadron 42, with development spread across 5 studios spanning multiple countries, and with more than 500 employees. We're heading full bore towards the release of Squadron 42, while continuing quarterly releases for Star Citizen, together under one banner. All of our 5 development studios in the US, UK, and Germany will now operate under our Cloud Imperium banner. We're creating Star Citizen, a record-shattering hyper-real space sim, and Squadron 42, a Hollywood-caliber, story-driven epic set in the same universe. Both games operate in open development, which means we share our progress and update our backers in near real time. So it makes sense that all these updates come from the same united company." Some people are speculating that this is also part of their $46 million investment for 10% of the company, and that they might have had to have rebranded for some reason, for clarity or whatever. And it could be that eventually that they want to create their own films or even license their own engine or tech under the Cloud Imperium brand. To me, it looks more likely, at least in the short term, to be a housekeeping and a strengthening, unifying of their brand for less confusion. There was a set of 7 Star Citizen video tutorials that have just been released on the official Star Citizen YouTube. These tutorials cover enlisting, basic movement, the basics of the persistent universe, quantum travel, and combat in both space and the first-person shooter element as well. There was a statement from community manager Tyler Whitkin that went along with this. "Hi everyone, these tutorials were specifically crafted for immediate use with the current patch 3.4.3. These tutorials are aimed at updating our existing tutorials that have lived on our how-to page. Our plan is to continuously update our tutorials so they remain relevant and helpful. We've had an influx of new players of late, so we'll be giving them as much outside of the game support as possible while we work to provide more in-game information." It's interesting that they said that, because there's a bit of timing problems here with these tutorials. Let me say problems. I mean, it's good to have them. Personally, I had a bit of a rant about how they were spending subscriber money the other day. They look to be getting over 3 million each year at the moment, that, as I understand it, is supposed to be specifically used for subscriber perks, video content, streams, and more community-orientated content that people voluntarily subscribe for the $10 or $20 each month, based on whether they want to be a standard subscriber or an Imperator one, or Centurions, the standard ones. I assume partly that this video series was funded by that. But my issue with them doing tutorials is that they need to keep them up to date when a new patch releases in a very timely manner. and they will have parts changing all the time, and releasing a tutorial series for Alpha 3.4.3 when 3.5 is literally in Ivacati and are going to go live at the end of the month seems a bit too slow-paced to release that now. That said, if they can do it and get a single employee or so to do that, then that might not be an awful idea at all, in my opinion. Some of the topics and tutorials can be future-proofed as well, or may just be relevant for a long period of time, like how to sign up and enlist, or how to use the issue council, something like that. There are helpful topics they can certainly get videos on, and I would be like, oh, that's a great idea. I just think that I'm worried about them wasting time on making these type of tutorials and doing it too slowly to make them useful or relevant at this stage. I do want an in-game tutorial, again, eventually. In-game tutorials, great. But again, you don't want to waste time and resources if the game keeps on changing and they become immediately irrelevant. Once the game is in a stable place, and this is going to likely be when Squadron 42 is near completion, then yeah, maybe have some in-game tutorials talking about something that's not going to get changed, or if it does get changed, they can tweak the tutorial very slightly without entire reworks and things like that. Another thing is that for some aspects of the persistent universe, the only real way to learn them at the moment is through a written or video tutorial, or learning by experimenting, and you sort of like pick up stuff as you do missions and just generally play the game. And that might be the only real way to doing some of this stuff that keeps on changing or gets added in its first iteration to give feedback on. I mean, patch notes and things like that, and when patches get released, they do give sort of like an indication of how these mechanics are supposed to be used. However, the biggest resource that Star Citizen has is its community. And there are a lot of tutorials, some of which I create, which help fill this gap. But there are hundreds of tutorials online. A lot of them are actually pretty damn good and explain everything that a backer needs to know when they search for the specific terms. And there's even the support section of Cloud Imperium, which has a huge amount of resources that are all written and links to these tutorials. And I understand that these tutorials that they released, they are supposed to be part of that catalogue. A lot of the sort of like community tutorials, ones that I do and things like that, they are certainly not the most professional of setups. But they can be informative, relevant, useful, and popular, and will come out typically extremely quickly after a patch is released, making them more appropriate for the needs of that tutorial. Cloud Imperium might prove me wrong, though, by having high-quality tutorials from day one of a release or nearabouts. I just doubt it, that's all. And the best way to learn how to make tutorials, I suppose, from their point of view, is to make them. I can talk from experience there. And then, I suppose, you do watch other people's tutorials, you get ideas from them. Playing the game a lot and keeping your finger on the pulse of the community obviously helps as well. I hope I haven't gone too much into a rant mode with this video. I do have quite a bad cold and I'm very tired. If you would like this kind of video where we look at other bits of the community and comment on certain things and go through Spectrum and Reddit and look at dev responses and some of the stuff that gets posted on sort of like the press releases for Cloud Imperium and that sort of stuff, and following other parts of the project that aren't necessarily game related, then please tell me that you like that or you don't like that or whatever. I do want my channel to be a one-stop shop for all things Star Citizen, so literally sort of like all areas covered, and this sort of goes along with that. But if people don't like the idea of it, or if they go, well, it's entirely irrelevant, I don't care if Cloud Imperium have changed their names, then I think that's a valid opinion too. My channel is basically community driven, and I want to do what people want to watch. Every month we have a ship giveaway. This month, by popular demand again, it's for an Anvil Carrack, this time sponsored by Forgotten Heralds, a lawful private military company with a history grounded in UEE military service. They are recruiting at the moment and are a good choice for both veteran and new players alike. All you need to do to be in for a chance of winning that Carrack, though, is be subscribed to my YouTube channel and comment on any of my Star Citizen videos made during this month. Links to more info on Forgotten Heralds and full details of the giveaway down below. If you don't have a gaming PC yet, or you are upgrading, instead consider Shadow Cloud Gaming. They allow you to leverage the powers of the internet to stream a high-spec Windows 10 environment to any other PC, Mac, or device like a smartphone or tablet. It is working really well in Star Citizen's 3.4 branch, and be sure to use the code BoredGamer if you do decide to check it out to get a discount. Links below. This channel exists because of its community. If you wish to support the channel further, below there are links to Patreon, Subscribestar, and there's the YouTube channel memberships, literally the join button below this video. VIPs do get some exclusive stuff and early content as a thank you as well. If you have any feedback, suggestions, or just want to say hi, please drop a comment below or poke me on discord.gg/BoredGamer. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the verse.